trekking, heavier traveling light. There's one thing that's right wherever I go. That's where I am.
I know.
By the way, did you watch the Grammys?
No, I didn't, and I'll tell you why. As if you need an explanation as to how conversations work.
No,
I
wanna
didn't,
know.
and here's my reasoning. I didn't because I don't know any new music. Like I
That
don't.
was the fun part of watching.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
See,
I
that
didn't
just
know
makes me
who
feel old.
I didn't know who Charlie XCX is, but her music's terrible.
I know. I don't know who
is-
she is, but it's not Exy Exxon. I don't think she's of the Exxon Valdez family.
Dude, if you listen to her music, you would swear there was gas money pushing her career because I don't know if it's a generational thing, but it is anxiety-induced. It's like the type of music that you would play during like a fitness boot camp to make sure that if you did stop, you would have a panic attack from the beat that's just boom, 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 and she's just yelling stuff. I'm gonna bang everybody in the room, and then just like, all right,
You just start
boom,
cycling
boom.
in place. You're like, what am I
Yeah.
doing?
What am I doing? Is this for a jazzercise class? Like, what do we do? I don't know. So her music, I could have gone without. It's probably just I'm probably just old. That's probably just
Well,
the
that's
issue.
it. Obviously, I mean, it's
Yeah.
not. I
It's
always
not for me.
wondered why like my dad never wanted to listen to music. I was like, yo, you got to check this out. And he's like, I'm good. And I was like, you suck.
Yeah,
You.
no.
I thought you were a musician because he's an amazing guitar player. My
Yeah.
dad. And I was like, I thought you liked music, man. And he's like, yeah, I do. I just don't like your trash. I'm like, okay.
I just can't. I'm not gonna sit here while you tell me that Fred Durst is the greatest lyricist of your time. Like, I'm not gonna sit here to listen to that argument, which I understand. We grew up in a bad generation of music of the late '90s, early 2000s rap metal, and we had, and I like a lot of these songs still to this day, but trying to justify Limp Bizkit and Korn and Kid Rock against like the genre that came before it, which was like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains, and we're like, no, this music's better than that. It's like, are we really gonna lie to ourselves? Or you just started getting erections a week ago, and you're like, is this what testosterone feels like?
You're the first person to discover it. Yeah. No one's ever been horny like me. But when you know what's funny is when you say that is that I also like can't listen to Pearl Jam.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I like a couple of their songs, and I like when Eddie Vedder just talks in interviews. I'm like, I'm into that, He's always talking about like, we got to preserve the Eagles, man. I'm like the band, and they're like, no, actual Eagles, we're losing them.
He's like the opposite, actually.
Yeah, less band Eagles, more real Eagles flying around. So I guess I'm into that. But no, Emma and I watched the Grammys, and I will say this: I think award shows are better when we have a Republican president, because like,
Because it's art.
yeah, because now artists are like, don't forget the people, the people, the downtrodden people, instead of just going, I can't believe I did it. I can't believe I'm here. Let me thank my manager. Let me thank my agent. It's like let's not forget what's going on. And I think it helps, like, I don't know. It makes for a more entertaining show from like the viewers aspect, at least for me.
There was something with Chapel Roan
Yeah.
where she was talking about artist rights and people.
Yes.
You signed me. I should get health care. I should be able to survive. If I'm giving you everything, you got to give me something.
Yes.
And while I as an artist, I agree with that. But it seems like such small potatoes, given the current moment that she was in, that she went with, Gaza, no. People are starving. No. How about healthcare for artists?
How about me 5 years ago?
And I kind of respect it. Like
I do.
there's part of me is like, that's what you went with, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? That's what you got. Sometimes you got to fight. You got to fight for what you believe in.
I don't disagree with what she said. I will say I don't think I don't think money helps art. Like I feel like art. I don't know if I felt like I was funnier when I stayed in bad hotels. Like it's more motivating,
Probably, yeah.
and so I agree with her, and I also from like I think the best music was made when the band had no money. I think a lot of the best music was made when you came from nothing. The best comedy, the best. I don't know. Go watch Judd Apatow's later work, and then see if you love it.
This
I know we
is
talked
40.
about that last
You mean
week.
$1 million budget?
Yeah.
Cool.
1,000 writers in the room and no one's in charge.
Well, you can tell with my comedy specifically, if you look back from the very beginning of my stand-up to now, you can tell after this conversation, you'd be like, oh, he must have always stayed in nice hotels.
This guy's been at the Ritz since the beginning.
But that is it's so funny you bring that up. I was, I spent a lot of time like in this studio and cleaning like my house. Like, I don't know. It's just been a lot of me being an adult the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And I had the place to myself on Sunday, I think. And I just put on no pads, no helmet, all balls, I think is the name of Simple Plan's first album.
Oh, okay.
Do you know Simple Plan? You remember
I
Simple
know
Plan?
Simple Plan. I'm not the biggest fan, but I know the band.
So I was obsessed with their first album. And it's from beginning to end, track for track, pure pop punk bliss. They hit every single note that you want, every chord progression that's produced to the nines, and it's perfect for that type of music.
Right.
However, I don't know how they could ever be that band again. And they put out albums I've never listened to because I think I decided, like, this is it for them. Because most of the songs are like, you can't tell me what to do because I'm a kid. But one day I'll be an adult. And then the next song is like, you don't respect my decisions, Dad. And it's like pure teen angst. And it's perfect.
That is awesome.
But how do you make money and then you come back to like, yeah, my dad was actually right about a couple things he was saying. He was an asshole, but he was not stupid. You know, I don't know how you make that second album with that same amount of like gusto behind it. And I've never listened to it. It's just, I don't know. And I'll listen to that first album over and over and over again. I'll go to their concerts if I can. But man,
if there's ever an era that doesn't age well, it's the pop punk era. Just like you even watch Green Day now, and you're like, comb your hair. You're come on, Billy Joel, you
brush your teeth, Billy.
You're 60 years old, for God's sakes. Like,
Yeah,
get
really.
it together. What are you doing? Even that, I remember, like, 10 years ago, he was doing that music festival, and he was drunk. And he's like, can you believe they only gave us 15 minutes? It's like, yeah, Taylor Swift's on next. Get out of here. And then he, like, lost his mind. And I'm like, dude, this is cool when you're 25. But
Right.
eventually you start creeping into Kid Rock level of, you can't call yourself, your name's Bob. Like, you don't get to be Kid Rock anymore. I think you have to go to rehab. You can't just be shooting up Bud Lights in your backyard anymore. Like, it's over. It's over.
Even Lil Bow Wow turned into Bow Wow. You know? Like, you gotta grow up, kid.
You gotta change with the times. Unless your name is the Heartbreak Kid and you work in tights, you don't get to keep Kid Rock as,
But
as your
even
name.
he turned into HBK.
Yep.
Like, he at
He's
least
like,
adulted it a little bit.
let's turn him into acronyms, please.
Yeah. KR would be great. He sounds like a West Coast jazz radio station.
But yeah,
TKR, the Kid Rock.
And now, this is what did Bob say? My buddy Bob, comedian. He was like, sometimes you bow with the ba, and sometimes you up jump the boogie. Whatever the lyric was. But yeah, you missed out on the Grammys. Taylor Swift would not sit down. Either that or they did not give her a chair. She was just up and cheering on everybody that ever came out of the curtain. To almost an annoying. I know there's a lot of Swifties. I get that there's an army of Taylor Swift fans, but when is that wave of Taylor Swift gonna crest and people are slowly gonna crumble down on her? Because it's obnoxious. To a 3 hour award show, she would not sit down. Woo! oh my God, it's so and so, and I'm like, I think you've seen that person before. I think you knew she was coming.
Well, look,
And
you have to go either that or, Oasis, and you just kind of, who gives a shit, grab my thing and leave.
right.
So I think because she's a trillionaire, she's smartly, I didn't watch that, has to be excited for everybody because everyone has given her so much and she's so
Right.
rich and famous that she's got to give it back. And I respect it.
I-
And I also I always had a crush on her, so I don't know any of her music. It's truly just a physical, I think she's attractive and she looks like a good hang, and that's where it goes for me.
I think her exuberance is best taken in clips. Like if you take clips of the show and you put them into Instagram Reels or to just a quick news blurb, and you're like, oh, so and so is performing. Here's a quick shot of Taylor Swift dancing, and then you go back to the performance. You're like, oh, Taylor Swift's a nice person, just rooting on everybody. What a great person. You see that in clips. You watch the 3-hour thing, and you're like, will someone make her sit down? To me, after watching it for 3 hours, it came off like the type of person that shows up to someone else's birthday, but they sing "Happy Birthday" the loudest, so it's kind of about them. Like
they sing it with that, like they have an opera vibrato, and
Yes.
and everyone's
Yes.
like, "Well, happy, oh, shut up."
it's kind of about me.
That's so
Like,
perfect. I know those people.
That was after watching it for 3 hours. I'm like, Emma and I were both like, is someone gonna ask her to sit down? Like she's in everyone's shot. It would be like a shot of Billie Eilish dressed like Fred Durst because she had like a backwards New York Yankees hat, and then Taylor Swift would just like kind of be in the background dancing, and you're like, will you let Billie Eilish have a moment of looking displeased? Let her have a thing.
But also, like, I don't know, because it's not her fault that the cameras are on her the whole time.
It's true.
She, I mean, maybe it is. Who knows? And that PR machine's got to be something incredible. But like, at what point, like, if the camera turns to her, she's like, she's like asking Kid Rock behind her for another bump, like to keep her energy going. Like, no, the cameras could be on you at any time. You got to go hard and go in the paint. I also love that Taylor, like, no one's told her she can't dance. Like, she's not a good
That's
dancer.
a hot take. That's a hot take.
She's not a good dancer just by virtue of the fact that she has 12-foot arms. She's got hips up to her chin. Like she's not built for dancing, and she's not good at it. If you saw a person dancing like that in regular life, you'd be like, "Aw, she's having so much fun."
She dances like Heather from HR at the company Christmas party.
Exactly, and I'll put my money where my mouth is. My fiance Becca's the same way. What she lacks for in skill, she makes up for in enthusiasm, and she'll tell you the same thing. So I'm not just making fun of Taylor Swift. I recognize it because I live with it.
She's the Pete Rose of dancing. She's Charlie Hustle.
Yeah.
Well, if Emma was here, if Emma was here for this episode, I'm sure she would step in and defend Taylor Swift, but she's not because we're recording this at 7:46 a.m. my time, and I had the alarm go off at 6 a.m. so I could get up and get ready to make sure that I don't figure out the headphone situation that we're dealing with now. And she's like, do I have to do the show? And I'm like, no, you don't have to do the show. I'm just saying the office is right next. So she's asleep. She's catching her Z's, and it's going to be a male-dominated, masculine sausage fest in here. That's what we're doing.
100%, and that's fine.
I'm all
We can
for
talk
it.
about wrestling and quote movies while she's not here.
Oddly enough, my top note was the Grammys and how Shakira stole the show because she's like the best. She did a live performance and hers was so much better than Charlie XCion's and Sabrina Carpenter, who she won a bunch of awards. Between her and Beyonce's album, it was just like the award show of elevator music. Between like Young Boozy, the bar song, and thankfully Kendrick Lamar won, who I didn't even know how many Kendrick Lamar songs I actually like until they kept playing his songs for every time he won something. I'm like, oh, I like that guy. And I liked his speech. It was very down to earth, very regular guy. And then Sabrina Carpenter was just like, she's just like a media plant that's being pushed by Dunkin' Donuts for some reason to sell elevator music. Of like, is this really this is groundbreaking pop? Like, it's not anything. It's just there. It's like if it was on, I wouldn't know it was on. It's like it's not that the music isn't offensive. It's almost like I wish it was a little bit offensive or anything. Not even offensive, just anything. It's just the more I'm in an elevator going up to the 6th floor and there's something playing and I don't even know what it is.
I don't want to go back to your point before, and I don't want to say this to sound like a crazy person, but you can thank Joe Biden for that. I think, right? Like theoretically, it's his fault because art is best in times of struggle and strife, politically. So, thanks, Joe Biden. Let me ask you this: Can I ask you this about the Grammys?
Go ahead.
Did you know the Beatles won a Grammy?
I watched the entire show and I saw they were nominated for a thing, and I didn't realize they put out an album. But the category I saw, they didn't win. So
They won a Grammy.
They won?
Let's play a game, Zoltan. Let's play a fun game called This Week in Zoltan Guesses What Category the Beatles won a Grammy for.
Okay.
And the hint has already been given because it makes no sense. And I love the Beatles. Love the Beatles. Love the Beatles. I am a Beatle fan. I'm telling you this, top to bottom, left to right, 100% wall to wall. I'm a Beatles fan.
Okay.
I've seen probably 10 Beatles tribute acts in my life. I love the Beatles. I am so disgusted by what happened at the Grammys. Go ahead and try to guess.
What, they win Best Hip Hop Album? Like what?
It's not that crazy.
Okay.
But it's just like it's on that level of nuts, but not like it's not like that type of crazy, but it's insane.
Best trombone in studio? Like what category could they have won?
What can't they do? What can't the Beatles do right now today in 2024, 25?
Perform live.
Best rock performance. Best rock performance, the Beatles won.
They're all dead. None of them are. Who's living?
Paul's been dead since the 70s. They're all, yeah. You know what it was for? Because they made an AI with old vocals, and they made an AI song called Now and Then, which sure, fine song. But they won a Grammy against this, Zoltan, against bands that performed. You know what? Let Trump in. What are we doing here, people? Is that what we get?
That would be like if there was an award for best living president and then they picked like Jimmy Carter, who's dead. And you're like, no, he's dead. And they're like,
here's the Grammy for the best president who didn't die last year. Wait a minute. Am I not reading that right?
What a slap in the face.
I mean,
oh yeah,
so stupid.
Wow.
And for an AI generated song.
That's incredible. Yeah, the AI stuff, I'm not. I think.
And his kid, I think, accepted the award, if I read the article right.
His AI generated child? Like, how old is that guy?
Sean Lennon accepted the Best Rock Performance Grammy for their new song Now and Then.
Have you ever heard a name that sounds more like they opened a fail kayak rental shop than Sean Lennon? Like, he had the business for a year, didn't know he had to pay for a business license, and then they pulled the plug on the old kayak rental shop.
It's just truly nuts.
Wow, that's incredible. That's truly incredible. But yeah, if you have the chance, go look up Shakira's performance. She did amazing. Also, Lady Gaga and who else was it? Bruno Mars. They did a really nice song together about the fires of California. Or it was a cover, but it was like a tribute to the fires.
I think that won a Grammy as well.
It was another performance they did.
Oh, okay. All right.
I didn't know that Bruno Mars and Lady Gaga were putting out music last year, but apparently they put out like a duet thing, and that won an award. And then they did a live performance of another song, where it's like all the leaves are brown. You know that song?
Yeah.
They sang it
Mamas and
better
Papas.
than that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and but they meant because they're burned. That's why they meant it, because the fire, everything's burned. So yeah, that was a good performance.
Sorry, I'm not listening to anything you just said because I was just thinking of. I haven't heard the song, but I just can only imagine them doing this. All the leaves are burned, and then just doing this into the camera. All the leaves are brown. Newsom. What do you think about that, Governor?
They had a QR code in the corner of the screen the entire show, so you could donate to the fire, and not to the fire. I don't think the fire is fundraising, but to the victims. And I
was just choked on my coffee. Well, the fire doesn't need your money.
but it would have been funny because what you just described, all the leaves are burned. That would be like a deep cut SNL sketch that wouldn't get any views on YouTube, but it'd be funny if every time like the QR code keeps getting bigger and until it is the screen, until it is all the leaves are burned. Please donate.
And the sky is gray because of the smoke.
Because of this.
Oh, it's that SNL sketch where the kids are doing like the spoken word poetry.
Yes, that's the one I was thinking
That's
of.
the bit.
That's
yeah.
the one I was thinking of. Just
That's
like,
so funny.
Where I found it was fun. I think maybe I did get a lot of views, but I think the first time I saw it, I'd be like, man, I'd be shocked if a majority of America would laugh at this, but I thought it was great. Anyway, I am going to say this, like, Trevor Noah, I thought, did a good job of keeping it all together. That's a hard
Was he
job.
hosting?
He had to host. He had to remember everyone's stupid name with the letters and the X's and the symbols. Everyone's like named after perfume now. And
Did he do his bit where I'm from Africa? So good.
I had to tell Emma that because she was like, "Who is it?" Emma doesn't know who anybody. She's like, "Who the hell is this guy?"
She doesn't know who that is.
And I'm like, "That was the host of the Daily Show, Jon Stewart." I was like, "No, Jon Stewart retired."
She doesn't know anybody. That's beyond doesn't know anybody. That's Jon Stewart. Yep.
Yeah.
You just got to let her think that. Just got to go yes, and then send her out into the world.
Well, she was just yelling out the name of the last person she knew that hosted. And I'm like, yeah, that's
Funny.
Jon Stewart. That is a South African guy, comedian.
Is that Dulce Sloan? It is. It is.
That's exactly who that is.
Hey, Michael Costa looks weird.
Did you see I didn't know this happened. Emma told me that Kanye, while we were watching the thing, she's like, "Do you know Kanye West showed up to the award show with his like crazy wife, with the girl that looks like apparently Kim Kardashian but isn't Kim Kardashian?" And I was like, "No, I didn't know that." And then she showed me a photo. Apparently they showed up and she was butt naked on the red carpet, and then they left.
Yeah, didn't even go to the show.
They didn't even. I don't think they let him in. But it's crazy that they let him come to the red carpet and then just go, "Well, I mean, we'll take some photos, but we can't do this here." That's it's kind of like really conservative people watching like a nude beach through binoculars and going, "Well, that is just despicable. We're never gonna let our kids go down to that beach."
And then another hand comes in and rips the other binocular off, and now they're both doing it.
Heavyweights.
Yeah.
You think I don't know what movie that scene is from?
Look, I'm going to say this. I'll say this. I don't care. I'm a free speech. I love free speech.
Yeah.
Pornography is part of free speech.
Yes,
Fine.
it is.
Felt forced.
Yeah.
I don't think she wanted to do that. I think that she just kind of, in 2 years, we're going to get I was forced into that. I was pressured into that. He had my passport. There's going to be some like weird Diddy thing going on with that.
Passport. I mean, I could believe that. And you're right, it did feel forced because it's like, where's the story? You know, you got to come in. Where's the pizza guy?
What's the bit?
What's the bit? You can't just come in, you know.
Hi, I'm Kanye. She's naked. Okay.
Is that her
guess.
name? Yeah, call her Nipley. I don't care what you call her. I'm Kanye West. This is a statement. I'm making a statement. Yeah, those types of big statements, I think, go over because we were talking about how like certain genres of music don't age well. Being like a shocking artist kind of goes away with age. Like it's less shocking and more like, come on, you're 40, you're 45 years old. Act like a normal person. I feel like
Yeah,
that
it's
happened
great.
with Madonna too. I don't know if you saw Madonna did a set at the Comedy Cellar.
I saw that. Yeah.
I saw it on social media. She got 30 minutes at the Comedy Cellar. Can you imagine being so famous that you can just go do another genre? They just let you in and be like, "You want to do comedy? Yeah, let me go bump Dave Attell, and you can go do a 30-minute set." That I read a Yahoo account of it. Wasn't great. Shocking. 30 minutes of Madonna doing stand up for the first time ever wasn't appealing to the
She
masses.
did it on Fallon.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she did a set on Fallon like a year or two ago. Because that spot is meant for rich, famous people, not for people that need it.
I mean, it doesn't matter if you need it or not. It doesn't do anything for anybody. When was the last
for
time
her.
a Fallon set, or not just Fallon, any late night set blew up anybody?
No, but it makes you bookable. It makes you a viable asset.
Sure. Yes,
No
it does
one's
do
no one's
that.
getting famous off it, but you can start booking better weekends.
Yeah, that's true. That part is true.
Madonna
that
did
is-
get 12 weeks across all the improvs after that, though, so pretty good for her.
Well, the improvs are so big. I think you do need Madonna in her 60s to fill those damn rooms.
If I see Madonna headlining Levity live, I'm gonna firebomb the place. I'll firebomb my house first, just so people know that I'm serious about it.
Well, one of the reasons Emma's sleeping because we woke up early yesterday too. I'm gonna break the news. I wish she was here to be part of this, but Emma is now a United States citizen as of yesterday. That's how she's celebrating. She's sleeping in like an American.
Like
all
a
right,
true American.
like a real American. She called in sick. And is sleeping through this one. But we woke up early because her appointment was like at 8 a.m. or something. We had to be downtown. And
Did you have to say the Pledge of Allegiance out loud?
she had to give 3 Hail Hitlers and do
So
a
she is an American now.
No, that was what Elon Musk did to get his government job. No, she had to. We've been studying for like the last month for her. Like they give you 100 history and government questions, and they ask 10 of them. I remember my mom went through this in 2000 when she became a citizen, and I got in through that. So it's funny because I've been to 2 of these ceremonies. Both times I never got asked anything because I got in with my mom and then I was just watching Emma become a citizen. But we were going through the questions for a month and I don't think most Americans would get these questions. Do you want to hear some of them?
I was going to ask, please, can we watch, or can you give us...
Let me throw some
little
out
bit.
there. Because I remember she asked me the questions first. Now I feel like I'm up to snuff on them because I've been drilling her about these questions for the last month. But, what is the supreme law of the land?
The Constitution?
That's correct. I said thou shalt not kill. Like, I don't know. I was like, what? I've never heard it.
Call me Terry, because I'm a real American hero, pal.
Yes, you are. You might get booed in L.A., but you're making a beer now. What does the Constitution do?
It lays out the supreme law of the land. Jesus, give me a hard one here, crying out loud.
So I think you're technically right. I don't think someone would knock that down, but the answers are sets up the government, defines the government, protects basic rights of Americans.
Protect basic rights of Americans.
Yeah, but like when she asked me that, I was just like, when it's one of those answers that but you're like, come, it's the thing.
Wait, is it multiple choice?
No, it's one answer, but it gives you 3 answers that could work. So your answer has to somehow be in the 3 answers for that one.
Okay.
Yeah, like for what is the supreme law of the land, it's just the Constitution.
Got you.
What is an amendment? I got this one right. I remember.
An amendment is the ability to add a new verbiage to the Constitution.
Yes, that is correct. What do we call the first 10 amendments to the Constitution? I got this one.
Bullshit. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna drop one an episode. I picked that to be my one.
PG-13, you guys.
So what was the first question? What was the question?
What do we call the first 10 amendments to the Constitution?
Is that the Bill of Rights?
That is correct.
Dang. Bud.
Here, I'll tell you one I didn't get right. How many amendments does the Constitution have?
26?
Whoa, 27.
27.
I said 10. I was like way off. Maybe this is just because I'm dumb. You didn't get a chance to study for this. I'm just throwing this out.
Oh, yeah, good point. I mean, look, I do audition and get booked a lot for Big Dumb Idiot, but let me tell you, it's just because I'm a good actor.
He's a method actor.
Yeah. I live my life.
What are two rights in the Declaration of Independence? This one's more specific.
Declaration of Independence.
Two rights.
Just pick two?
Yeah. There's three listed, but you just pick two.
The right to make fun of British people's teeth. Is that right?
No, I mean, it's
Am I
not
close?
on here. It's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Oh, there's only three?
I guess. Then they said just name two of them.
Two rights. Okay. I thought that was more of like a slogan. I thought that was more of like a T-shirt.
That's the one that got me because I was you can vote, bear arms. I just said bear arms for all of them.
But that's a constitutional amendment.
Right.
So
everyone gets to bear arms. That's one of the questions was like, what's a right versus
a wrong.
No, versus like an obligation or a responsibility. That was it. What's the right of a right of citizens, and it's like to vote, but what's a right of everyone living in the United States? And it was like freedom of speech and right to bear arms.
Sure.
Which, by the way, I mean, there's a lot of people that live here that aren't citizens, and there's people trying to push you out. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying, based on what I learned here, right to bear arms is part of. It's on there. I'm just saying. How many U.S. senators are there?
There's two per state, plus there's an extra one in Nebraska. So it's like 100 and there's like an extra little thing I believe right in the middle of Nebraska. So I want to say 112.
This one just says 100. It's two for every
100.
state. What are you talking about?
No, well, two for every state. There's actually 50. I mean, but that's what I'm saying. I don't know if is Puerto Rico represented, is Hawaii represented. You know what I mean? Like, are the outlying majorities? Is the U.S. Virgin Islands? So I went with 112 because I was trying to add. I assumed it's two per state. I got that part right. I'm an American.
You got that part right. You got the two per state right.
It's two per state, but I don't remember if I'm dumb.
It's all good. I got that one right. It's the.
Okay.
Do you know how many represent? I think. By the way, my guess is that like Puerto Rico and Guam and like
They're
the
in the
territories,
House.
they have U.S. representatives. I don't think they have senators. I might be wrong, but just based on the answers here. By the way, do you know how many? The House of Representatives has how many voting members? Crap ton, by the way.
It's like 500 and change or something like that?
Yeah, it's 435 of these guys.
435, yeah.
And then we had to name all of them for her to be a citizen.
So what?
I'm kidding.
All of them first by first name. Yeah. Nicknames will suffice.
But yeah, some of these questions were hard. Like, do you know how
Hold on this. How about any human being in America? How many House of Representatives are there? 532. Name one. Yeah. And you're in. Couldn't name a single one.
That was the hardest part is we had to, because they would ask easy ones like name the governor of your state. And she was like, that's not hard. But it was like name your U.S. representative. We had to Google that. And then we had to type in our address. And our guy's name is like Scott Peters, who I think is a murderer. I think he killed that girl in Northern California.
Yeah, he changed his name. That's not a. That's not, it was Peterson, so he went real easy.
Yeah, he shortened it. I think after the annulment of that marriage,
He's
he
like
lost
Tony
his
Danza.
son.
He's like, you got to call me pretty close to my name. I'm not gonna know.
Yeah.
I play Tony and everything.
His dad was like, he's not my son. Lose son off the last name. You can be Scott Peters, but you're not gonna
And
be
that's
Scott
why you're
Peters.
the headliner, pal.
Bringing in the hack. But yeah, so and then we had to name one of our U.S. senators out of California, and I'm like, is Dianne Feinstein still alive? Like, I don't even know if she's still alive. And
I got Chuck Schumer. I know that one.
Chuck Schumer's New York, and then but for us it was Alex Padilla, and I'm like, remember that name. And
Sounds like a delicious salad that has pomegranates in it. Can I get the Padilla add chicken? Little pomegranate seeds. Ooh, be careful. There's seeds in there.
That's funny and non-offensive to anyone. I can see that not being played well in 10 years, but I love it. I think that's fair.
Who am I offending?
I don't know.
Salads?
Salads and U.S. representatives or
Kale
Congress
farmers.
senators.
Kale farmers are pissed.
What's a hard one? Let me find a hard one.
These haven't been super easy. I make them look easy because I'm brilliant, but I mean, these are not.
They're not. It's the ones I had issues with were like the ones where it's like, what are the rights or what are the rights in the Constitution? It's like life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I thought that was a Will Smith movie. Like I'm like, that's not in a document.
Yeah, that was the tagline for Enemy of the State.
This one I think you should nail. What are 2 cabinet level positions? There's a bunch of them.
Oh, like Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, like that type of stuff?
Yeah, Secretary of Defense is one of them, I believe.
Secretary of Transportation. Just put Secretary in front of any job you know.
Any job. Especially now. You can just add Secretary of axle wheels. And you're like, that's somebody.
Secretary of firing people for absolutely no rhyme or reason. I think they called that Doge.
Secretary of facelifted South Africans.
Secretary of we know you're bald.
What does the judicial branch do?
By the way, Taylor Swift and Elon Musk, they dance the same. Anyway, what was the question?
Do we know they're not the same person?
Have you ever seen them in the same room?
I have not. I've only seen them fight on Twitter, and that could be 2 people going click a click, click a click. That doesn't mean it's the same person.
We're not saying they are or aren't.
What does the judicial branch do?
They're in charge of the courts.
Yeah, but the way they word it here, I don't know if that would get you the right answer because they explain that in 4 ways here. Reviews laws, explains laws, resolves disputes or disagreements, decides if a law goes against the Constitution.
Any of those versions would work?
Any of those versions would work. So I don't know if you were like some Russian guy that's like it runs the laws. Like I don't know if that gets you into the country. I don't know if that's like a strike or if that gets you in. Here's a good one. Under our Constitution, some powers belong to the federal government. Which is one power of the federal government?
I mean, wait, what was the first part?
Under the Constitution, some powers belong to the federal government. So, like, the next question will be, like, some powers belong to the state and some are federal, whatever. And it's like, name one of the powers of the federal government. Now, I bet there's more than this, but they give you 4 examples.
Power of the federal government. I mean, highways, interstates?
I mean, I'll just list the ones it says. It says to print money, because this is also one that I got wrong.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Print money, declare war, create an army, to make treaties.
I was going to say declare war, but I was like, I feel like that's like an act of Congress. But I guess that is the federal government.
That is the federal government, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then under the Constitution, some powers belong to the state, and they listed 4 of those. Do you want to take a stab at it?
Powers of the state would be to, I don't know.
It's like the one Emma remembered was to provide a driver's license.
Yeah, I guess these are like super generic. I don't know. I always want to go deeper and be a power of the state, like to Parks? I don't. They protect the ducks in the pond.
It's a lot of boring ones, like provide safety, i.e. like fire department, provide protection, like the police, provide schooling and education.
Okay.
Approve. Yeah. But that's also confusing because there's a lot of federal money that goes to schooling. So like,
Sure.
But I guess the ultimate job of putting out the power.
Distributing that money.
Yeah. Can you imagine being like 7 years? I think you have to be in this country for 7 years under a visa or a green card or whatever to apply to be a citizen, and then they throw these questions on you, and you're like, what? Like, I was putting myself in, like, if I went to Canada with no knowledge of how the Canadian government, I don't know how they have a parliament, that they got a petri dish of people. That's not the right term, but you know what I'm saying. It's a bunch of people in the big parliament. I don't know how any of that works. And then you got to learn it, and you're like, what does Justin Trudeau do? And you're like, he's the main poobah. He's the grand poobah. I don't know what he does. He's the main Canadian guy. And then you got to learn that to get in there and get the health care. It's hard.
It's a lot, yeah.
But she crushed it. Emma went, Emma's a classic over-preparer, where I'm like, I got to go off a feel, you know? And she's an over-preparer. And I told her, I was like, because they only ask you 10 questions. And I was like, you should ask them to ask you all the questions. Like, there was a wrestler in the 80s by the name of King Kong Bundy where he used to beat a guy. And after the 3 count, he would look at the ref and go, 5, I want a 5 count. And the guy would hit the mat 2 more times just to show his dominance. And I'm like, that's what you should do. After the 10th question, go, give me an 11th question. Just anything you want. Just throw it at me. I've been studying. Like a madman.
I wish you would have gone up like this and go like this. Is that it? Throw it down on the thing. And like, you got a 71.
Oh, the good thing is you don't have to get all 10 of them right. You just got to get 6 of them right. 6 out of 10. Which is a D.
Wow.
Yeah, 60%. You're like, okay.
It's fine.
You know?
Because none of this stuff... Like, these questions are just to trip you up. Like, these aren't... I understand, like, theoretically why they want people to know this, but, like...
We should know this.
How come none of the questions are, should you murder your neighbor? You know, when you've had too much to drink, what do you do? Like, that's how you become a good citizen, is by being a good neighbor. So why are the questions about... what was Thomas Jefferson's, molar count? Like, who cares about that?
Oh, he was in this. Like, here's where it gets tougher. Now,
like, what does that even matter to modern society? Like, what a stupid thing. How about you ask them questions about what it means to be a good person, a good citizen in the United States, and then say twice a year you got to go to a museum. You got to like swipe your card at a museum. And then that's how you, like, what are we doing? It's what a stupid system.
I think that would be way better than jury duty. You have to go to an art museum every day.
Yeah.
And then, but you got to spend like an hour in there and really look at the farts. Look at these arts.
Yeah.
All right.
Go down to the Francis Tavern in Lower Manhattan and look at one of George Washington's actual teeth.
Yeah.
Like, that's more impressive to me.
That's true.
Like,
but instead they're asking, when was the Constitution written?
In
1787.
That's what I said.
That's what you said. The Federalist Papers supported the passage of the U.S. Constitution. Name one of the writers. Thankfully, we went to the musical.
Yeah.
Alexander Hamilton.
Oh, I saw the John Adams musical last week. Not good. I saw the Ben Franklin spoken word play, and let me tell you, not as exciting.
That was the question Emma was so excited about, and I'm like, I hope they ask this one because you get so pumped to know the answer. Because one of the questions is, what is one thing Benjamin Franklin is famous for? And I said the apple hit him, and not right.
No,
I thought an apple
close.
hit that guy in the head. Do you have an answer before I start throwing them out?
Well, do you want the answer that they're going to have, or do you want the real answer? Because I think Ben Franklin is a hack, and I stand by this. I've gotten into fall down, drag out arguments with Becca over this because I think Ben Franklin gets way too much credit for things that he just happened to do. Ben Franklin is a hack. He's a loser. He had syphilis so much. He had so much and so bad syphilis, and he gave it to so many people that's a thing that you could find easily about him. Like, do you know how much syphilis you have to have for people to be like, Ben Franklin, oh, that syphilis guy? Back then, when everyone had it, they were like, watch out for Benny boy. He hasn't cleaned his willy in a week. He was a disgusting fat pig. He was sitting in a park, flying a kite.
That's the one I thought.
Flying a kite, and found that the lightning was electric. Like, he's credited with discovering electricity. Like, do you not, like, I understand that, like, technology and stuff wasn't around, but, like, it seems because we have access to everything now that I would think that was easy to do. But if he didn't find out about electricity by flying a kite in a park like a creep in his little bloomers, you know who would have found out about electricity through a kite? The guy next to him with a kite. He didn't do anything special.
He is essentially the guy from the movie The Great Outdoors that was struck by lightning 66 times with the skunk haircut. He's got the hair.
And look, they credit him with bifocals, with glasses.
Oh, yeah,
but you know what they had before glasses? Magnifying glasses. This is what Ben Franklin did. He went like this. He went, huh. Sorry, let me do it this way so people don't know I'm in. He's looking at papers. He goes, wait a minute. Oh, you know who would have done that? Another guy with a friggin' magnifying glass. Ben Franklin's a hack. Where's the camera? Ben Franklin's a hack. He's not as talented as people think he is, and he's one of these stupid historical figures that everyone just clings onto for some reason. If I would love to meet the great-great-great-grandson of Ben Franklin, just so I can smack him in the side of his head and go, "You don't deserve any of the money you have or fame." Because your great-great-great-great-grandfather was a punk.
Who would have thought? I'm actually glad we did this in the morning, because I don't know if you would have had this much hate towards Ben Franklin in the afternoon.
Oh, I do. This is something this has been in here for a very long time. I've been trying to do bits about it, but I don't have it yet. I'm not there because like I just now figured out this thing.
That's really
like as we were talking.
This needs to be on stage. That's a funny. Yeah. No one's doing Ben Franklin material. First of all, you can be the Ben Franklin guy.
But I also believe what I'm saying.
I mean, I can tell with your conviction you believe what you're saying. Like I get it. Like it's that is so funny. I also didn't know he invented all that stuff. The one that Emma remembered is that he started the first free libraries.
Okay, but he also had rich parents.
I know. And he's like, hey, these people can't even read. Let's give them a crack at it.
I just recently bought and started reading the Ben Franklin autobiography because I was like, if I'm going to hate this guy so much, I need to like really dig in.
In his own words.
And that's why I couldn't read it because, of course, it's going to be revisionist history. Of course, he's going to write, and also, it's written as if the way he would talk, which was impossible for me to read.
Oh, it's like ye old English or something?
Yeah, it's very old English. It's like, and once uponeth my father mothereth. I'm like, grow up, dude. Need to find...
Do you think other people around that time, also in power, didn't like him, and that's why they gave him the $100 bill? Because they're like, no one's even going to use this bill. It's way too big. Like now, obviously, $100 isn't what it used to be, so you see it in circulation more. But now people don't even use cash. But I just mean, like, they might as well have, like, put his face on the moon and be like, well, no one's going to go up there. So, yeah, you get the moon, but who's going to see it, dude? It's on the other side.
We'll put your face, we'll name you after a flying machine. I don't know, maybe. That sounds like a really good thing. But I'm sure he had some connection to the printing, the Federal Reserve or something.
These are the ones that were said. One was free libraries. That's the one Emma remembered, and thankfully she got asked, so she nailed it. U.S. diplomat, oldest member of the Constitutional Convention, which is not even like I don't know, like not dying shouldn't be one of the things you're remembered for. First Postmaster General of the United States.
That is true. That is true.
So like he's like, we should have mail. Which, you can tear these apart. But
He was appointed. It's not like he invented mail. He was just the first CEO of the mail.
Right. Yeah.
Like he didn't invent the post office. He just was. They were like, "Hey Ben, you're old. You do the mail."
Yeah.
And now he's like, "I'm the first." It's like, cool, man. Like
the more I've watched, Emma had already watched it, but she got me to watch Silicon Valley. And the more I've watched that show, the more I've realized that CEOs are not special people. They're just. I thought CEOs like ran the company, but really they have to meet with the high-end investors and go, "Can you please don't fire me?" That's what CEOs do. They go to the billionaire oligarchs that invest in their company and they go, please don't fire me. And they're like, well, we need more money, so you need to get a little bit more profit share in the next quarter. And they're like, should we kill people? And like, do whatever it takes, but if you don't come back with a higher profit next quarter, we might get a new CEO. And I'm like, oh, these guys don't run anything. They're just like, the CEOs are essentially hitmen for the billionaires that are like, go make us more money or we throw you out and we get another Sammy the Bull Gravano to go do horrible things.
let me ask you this. Do you know who invented iPhone?
Oh, like actually invented it?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Who would you say, just if you had to guess?
Well, Bill Burr had the great Steve Jobs bit where he went out there with a belt or no belt and sneakers like it was no biggie. But it was supposed to be, it's labeled like Steve Jobs pulled it out of his ass.
Steve Wozniak.
Oh, he's
still alive.
He invented it.
He was the brain behind all the Apple components. Steve Jobs knows nothing about computers. He can't build a computer. That's not his thing. He's a
salesman.
A salesman and perceived as a genius marketer, which you can't deny that.
Right.
Guy's a great marketer because the biggest company in the world, basically.
Right.
But he didn't invent. He just screamed at people.
Wow.
Get it done by tomorrow, Steve. Touchscreens don't exist. Well, make it.
Yeah. The Bill Burr bit is amazing.
I haven't seen that. I should watch it.
It's like from 2012.
Oh, wow.
And I remember he goes on this long rant. I don't even know if you can find this set, but it was like in LA, and it was a compilation of a bunch of comics, and it wasn't the best crowd. And so he was just ripping Steve Jobs a new one, who had just died. And he started the bit by going, what did this guy do? Tell me, what did this guy do? Like, why is he so special? And then he rips them all apart, and at the end, people started to get with it, but they were still kind of whatever. And he goes, the new phone doesn't fit the old charger. This is your hero. And it just that line turned the entire audience, and they were now on his side.
Because it's so stupid. The whole thing is so dumb.
It's incredibly dumb, and that was like the first time they switched the chargers. This back in 2012, whatever generation of the iPhone, but the whole bit was true. Like. I've learned it's incredible how much I've learned about business and life and stupidity of people than Mike Judge created shows and movies of like, oh, CEOs aren't like these geniuses. They're honestly just hitmen for billionaires going, make us more money. And we're the secret mafia behind the hitmen, and we're nameless, faceless, horribly rich people. But whether this company succeeds, you could be. It's a political position. You either become the next huge superstar, or you get thrown out back, and then people forget about you.
CEOs are essentially all Elizabeth Holmes from Theranos. Do you remember that company?
Yes.
She made billions of dollars invested in her company on a product that didn't work and couldn't work.
But she sold them.
She sold the idea of a product, and everyone's just like, oh. That's why you also know that rich people are stupid. Because they're like, oh, I believe in her turtlenecks. Like, what? You just believe in their vibe. They're just vibe checking people and being like, yeah, here's all the money. And then enough people say that she's good, everyone's down.
Exactly.
And then now she's in jail because she had no idea what she was doing.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of that in everything. I mean, I saw that in the Grammys. There's enough people telling me Sabrina Carpenter is an incredibly talented singer, and I'm like, well, you had to tell me her music was playing while it was playing. I didn't know it was playing. I thought
I
I
will
was
say
just hearing.
she's pretty funny.
I like the Duncan commercial. By the way, this isn't some big rip on Sabrina Carpenter. I'm sure she's a fine young lady. I'm sure she uses her left and right turn indicators and pays all her taxes. I'm sure she's an upstanding citizen. I just mean like the genre of not just music, but all around art, whether it's movies, short clips, YouTube posts, which I'm also guilty of. They all just look and sound the same because we're all playing for the algorithm. So no one's really trying anything new. No one's trying anything daring because the odds of the algorithm picking this up and showing this to others is less likely. So we all kind of end up making the same thing, which kind of sounds like Sabrina Carpenter's music. That's my point. It all sounds like espresso. Just kind of like, if I turned it off, would you notice? If I turned it on, would you notice? Or would I have to tell you it's playing?
Yeah, if there was no gaps between the tracks, would you know one switched?
Is that a lyric?
Like from what? It's a Sabrina Carpenter song.
Oh.
No, it's not. It's not. It's like this. It's like the song Hook by Blues Traveler. You familiar with that song?
Maybe if you sing some.
Because the hook brings you back. I ain't telling you no lie. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Okay, I don't know.
It's a very popular song. I'm not doing it justice because there's a law office right next door. And if I yell, scream it, they're going to know.
They're going to know, yeah.
That being said, go look up the lyric. Go listen to Hook.
Okay.
I'll leave you with this. Go listen to Hook by Blues Traveler. And you'll go, oh, I remember this song. And you'll sing it and you'll think. But read the lyrics to it as it's being sung. And then you'll go, this is exactly what modern pop music is to a T. Because the lyrics are this. I'll tell you what the lyrics are. Hold on. The song's called Hook.
Okay.
Which you know because I just said it.
10 times. The song is called Hook. Which honestly sounds like the placeholder for the actual title, and then they accidentally printed the CDs, and they're like, oh, I guess it's called Hook now.
But maybe you remember the song is, it doesn't matter what I say. Da, da, da. That's how the song goes. It doesn't matter what I say, so long as I sing with inflection that makes you feel that I'll convey some truth or inner vast reflection. But I've said nothing so far, and I can keep it up as long as it takes. It doesn't matter who you are. If I'm doing my job, it's your resolve that breaks. The whole song is about how I am not singing anything.
Wow.
But because I use inflection and I make you feel like I'm singing something important, I can say anything I want.
That's beautiful.
And because the hook brings you back. Because in pop music, the hook is what matters, right?
Yeah, it's so true. It made me think of the Motorhead song "Overnight Sensation." But yes, I love that. That makes what's funny is that. So I'm gonna assume that song came out in like the mid '90s.
Yeah, probably mid to late '90s. Yeah.
And then I'm sure music execs didn't even listen to it, and they're like, "Yeah, whatever." Like they're completely ripping on the business and pulling the curtain back, and I don't know. I love that. I think that's amazing. I thought you were about to name a really bad song. It's like no.
It's an incredible
musician
song.
Drops some knowledge, and
this is what makes it even better. Like this song. I don't want to keep talking about the song "Hook" by Blues Traveler from '98.
That'd be funny if we never played it, but we talked about it so much we'd get dinged with a demonetization thing. They're like, they didn't play any of the music, but they talked about it so much. I think they owe Blues Traveler some money.
Well, this is one of my go-to karaoke songs after a couple of pops, so that's why I'm always thinking about it. But there also in the song is one of my favorite actually good lyrics, because like there's a blip where he does write a good piece of music where he's talking again. It's the whole middle of it. He says, "There's something amiss. I'm being insincere. In fact, I don't mean any of this, but my confession draws you near." So he's admitting, like, I don't believe even what I'm saying about not believing this. And then he says, "To confuse the issue, I'll refer to familiar heroes from long ago." Because don't forget, the name of the song is Hook. He goes, no matter how much Peter loved her, what made the pan refuse to grow was that the hook brings you back. So it's just such a out of nowhere lyric about Peter Pan because the hook, like it's just like the whole thing is just perfect.
I love that.
It's perfect music writing.
Man, and
Coming
ahead
from a
of
man
its
who's
time
never
because
written music.
it's what we're dealing with now. I mean, all the. I don't know if I just missed the boat on country, and I like what hip hop artists and R&B artists going into country is saying, that the genre is open to everybody, and I'm all for it. But all the songs that, not just from them, but all the country songs that have come out, I don't know, that I've listened to in modern times, I'm like, this just sounds like, I get it, you're in a truck and you're enjoying simpler times, and all the song, it just sounds like Christian rock to me, where you hear like the first riff and you're like, this has a, like, this isn't genuine. Like, that's the feeling I get. You know how when you just turn the radio station just from the tone of Christian rock, you're like, uh-oh, I smell it. And then you're like, his praise be, and you're like, there it is. I knew it was coming. And there it is. Just the bland.
You check your radio station, it's something, 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 the fish.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. It's like the channel that you found it on's too low. It's like,
The frequency's a little zippy.
Yeah, and you're like, what is this? Whoa. Why is this so close to NPR? What? Oh, it's free. All right.
I do love anything with great harmonies. Like, I'm a sucker for a good harmony. That's why I used to be a closeted boy band fan as a youth, but I'm out the closet now. But like, when it comes to country, like I can listen to Rascal Flatts morning to night.
Okay.
It's like pure pop engine driven country music. But it's 3-part harmonies that'll make you cry. It's just so good.
See, it just might be a genre of music that I didn't hit with.
It's not for everybody.
It's not, and I like it. I like sometimes I'll have friends that love old country, and they'll put on like Waylon Jennings and a bunch of stuff and I'm like, I like this. This seems to have,
which is
more.
It's just like, Kid Rock technically is rock and roll,
Right?
But like, you wouldn't put him next to the Beatles and say, oh, these are the same,
Right? Exactly. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Well, what's that old street joke? What happens when you play a country song backwards?
I don't know.
Your dog comes back to life. Your truck starts working. Your wife comes back. It's such a good joke.
Oh God. Well, it was a music-heavy episode. I think we hit an hour. What's the time say? My laptop.
Hour 6.
Hour 6. What are we going into overtime? You have other shows to get to.
Well, they just canceled, so
Oh no, did they?
let's do another hour.
All right.
Yeah, I don't have anything in here. Which I apologize. Literally, as we're recording, I got a text. We're like, hey, can we reschedule for Friday? Which was my 12 o'clock show.
No, that's all right. That's I will say. I guess I'll tell you business stuff now. You know how we were supposed to do Governor's Long Island? We're still doing it, but it got moved to the 21st. So you know how we're doing Stamford Comedy Club in Connecticut on Saturday? That Friday we're gonna do Governor's, if that still works for you.
Oh, great. Hang on. Something's wrong with my calendar.
We're doing business.
Remind me the date?
The 21st of March, and this is good for the listeners. If you are in Long Island, I'll be at Governor's Comedy Club with Mike, as long as it clears his schedule.
Friday?
Yeah, the 21st.
I'm in. I mean, I have to be back in the city on Saturday, and then we can go to Stamford, right?
Yeah, that was the plan.
Yeah, we're not staying. You wouldn't be staying in.
No, I was hoping I was gonna get a place in Manhattan and try to like hang out in the city and get my little taste of New York while I'm out there. But yeah, we moved that date just to make it more cohesive, so I'm not flying back and forth. But yeah, upcoming shows. Let's see, this comes out next week. So Ontario Improv, Oxnard, Levity Live. We brought that up. Madonna will not be there, but I will. And tickets are available. I don't know who sells tickets in Oxnard, but that is a hard market, buddy. We have a good amount of people coming, but there's still plenty of tickets left. Do you want to lay down? There's enough seats in the back to lay down if you want. Ontario Improv, Oxnard, California. Portland, Oregon, selling really well. We sold out the early show at the Aladdin Theater. Late show still has tickets left. But Eugene, Oregon, also selling well. We added a date, so we're also going to be there through Sunday instead of just Saturday. But a bunch of shows going back to Hollywood in April, Boise, Idaho. We just added Pittsburgh in April. People have been like, when are you coming to Pittsburgh? I'm doing it the same weekend that I'm in Cleveland at Hilarities. So go to zoltancomedy.com and check out all the dates. We keep adding more. Chattanooga, Tennessee just got added. A bunch of hot spots. Chattanooga. I don't know why I'm doing finger guns, but that's come see all the shows. Help me pay my rent and let me be a comedian.
My buddy has a great bit. He says, "I went this real podunk of a town. I don't want to name names here, but it starts with Chattanooga, ends with I'm pregnant."
It'll be my first time in Chattanooga. I've never been. It's too many letters. I'll say that.
Which is, and I won't plug me, but my buddy Gilbert Lowen, one of the funniest guys I've ever known in my life, just put an album out on. It's on Apple TV. It's on all the streaming stuff.
That's awesome.
You can get it now. Gilbert Lowen, Iraqi-born, Georgia-bred. That was his joke, so I figured I might as well plug him if I'm going to steal his bit for a podcast.
No, plug away. Iraqi-born. He did the Chattanooga, that line that you just...
Not in the special, but that was a joke when we were first starting. He'd always talk about Chattanooga. It starts with Chattanooga, ends with I'm pregnant.
I like it. Go check out his thing. I think Apple TV is the... Do you do Apple? Do you have that one?
Yeah,
I don't have.
I have it for free on my T-Mobile's great. I get like free Netflix, free Apple TV, free Delta Wi-Fi. It's great.
I don't get any of those. Apple's like the Apple and Paramount, I think, are the ones we're holding. That's where we drew the line in the sand. And I'm like, well, I guess we don't get to watch the Severance show, and I guess we don't get to watch all that like 1800s cowboy stuff that's on Paramount Plus.
Oh yeah, no.
I think that's what they're holding down.
I don't know what I have anymore, but I get half of it paid for by T-Mobile, so
that's great.
Pretty good.
The new I will plug this before we leave because my guy I started with in comedies in it on Hulu, Interior Chinatown. I don't know if you've watched that show.
No.
Jimmy O Yang's in it.
Oh, cool.
And he started it. He was a San Diego comic, so I knew him back when he was selling used cars. And he was
speaking of Silicon Valley.
And Silicon Valley. That's how it all started, because I was watching Silicon Valley, and I was like, this was the show that helped Jimmy. He had done stuff before, but like that was like his first, I think, regular appearance on a show. And then he's great in Silicon Valley, too. That show falls apart season 6 because they don't have T.J. Miller anymore.
Yeah, he's really the glue that keeps a lot of stuff together.
He is. As much as like I don't know all the flack that a lot of people don't like him, and I know there's reasons. I don't know what they are off the top of my head. I've never met the guy, but on the show,
sweetest guy. As far as comedy goes, I've worked with him a couple of times. He's like the nicest dude. When you go out with him,
that's what I heard.
He'll tell you right before you go out for the night, like if you're going to get dinner or drinks or whatever, he'll be like, "Hey, don't pull your credit card out. Don't even try to pay. Everything's on me." That's the end of that. And whatever you want, he's like, get it. He's like, as far as like a comic coming up, like he is the nicest dude. I don't know anything about him personally. I know there was some weird stuff that may or may not have been made up.
Right.
But I personally have no.
That he's a good guy.
Nothing
that you like
against the guy.
Yeah. But
he was always a sweet guy. To me.
I liked him on the show, but also shows go long. And season 6 of I feel like Silicon Valley should have ended maybe 2 seasons before then, because the show got repetitive. It's like, hey, everything's working out. No, it's not. And then the same villain comes back to screw him over, and you're like, how many times can that lady, I forget her name, but tell Richard to shut up, stop talking? And you're like, I don't know. It's all, he's gonna puke. It's all the same stuff. But I like the show a lot. Yang killed it. And then the new show he's in, Interior Chinatown, is super weird. I don't even know how to describe the show other than it's almost Inception-esque or Truman Showy, where he's like part of a murder mystery TV show, but he's also in real life, and parts of it are on TV. I don't know. It's bizarre, but it's interesting, and he's funny in it. And Emma and I are 3 episodes in. And it's cool. It's based on a book, so it feels like you're reading. in the sense that you're like, I think I can tell people I watch this, you know? Like, it's one of those things where when I finish a book, I always splice it into conversation. You're like, yeah, I just read some Hemingway, To Have and Have Not. Oh no, not Old Man in the Sea. No, I like to go for the deep cuts. That's what I'm into. And then you get to come off kind of pretentious. That's what I think Interior Chinatown will give you. Get to come off a little like, oh, you didn't watch that? Yeah, you might not get it. You might not.
What am I reading? The Bible. Already watched the movie. Figured I'd go back and check out the original.
There's nothing.
I heard Leviticus is real tough to try to absorb when you read it.
Oh, there's nothing more.
Leviticus was a real piece of work.
What are you reading right now? The Bible. Ugh. All right. And nothing against religion or the Bible, but it's like the Bible's not a book you read. It's a book you go through the passages of. You're like, hey, I want to read back through Romans 612, and then
It's the book you go like this. You go, there's no way it's in there. Oh my God, it's right there. There's my favorite one where you got the dictionary like this. I'm sorry, what's that? I was just doing some reading. I know I've seen that somewhere. I can't take credit for that, but
I know I've seen that somewhere too, and I can't pinpoint it down either. But
yeah, I can't.
I love it. Anyway, I think that's the episode for this week. I'm looking forward to seeing you in March, and we'll do this again next week. And that's it, everybody. Thank you for watching.
Now I have almost a full day of nothing.
I'm so sorry. You know, whoever
okay.
canceled, shame on them. Canceling day up.
Happy birthday to my fiance Becca. I'm taking her to see Urinetown, opening night of Urinetown at City Center tonight, starring Rainn Wilson.
Hey, that's so cool. Happy birthday to Becca. Also check out her show, Corporate Gossip. Very good show.
Just launched season 5, produced right here at Burrow House Creative.
Burrow House Creative. I love it. That sounds like A24. Love it.
That's what Burrow House is. What I'm hoping becomes the. We already have people. People are constantly hanging out here. It's actually been a pretty fun vibe. And if you, Zoltan, when you're here in March, if you want to come and just chill, send a tape, and we'll just put it through the process to see if we can let you in. That'd be pretty cool.
I will do that.
I kept talking. I was like, did he not hear me say send a tape?
I will be sending a tape. I just want to come hang out. Well,
you gotta send a tape.
We'll do a live show. But anyway, I'll catch you up. We'll see you guys next week. Goodbye, everybody.
Trekking heavy or traveling light, there's one thing that's right wherever I go. That's where I